Lola.
Mama
our
Lola.
beautiful Lola girl. So Lola.
2 years.
Okay. So where do I start with Lola?
Where do we pack in 2 years?
So with Lola, it was actually a networker from California who sent us a message and said, hey, there's a situation. There's a man who loves his dogs, but moved and couldn't take them with him. And we see this excuse/reason used time and time again.
Did he drop them off in junkyard?
Yeah, he dropped both dogs at a friend's junkyard.
Yeah.
And the networker knew that we loved Shepherds and Malinois and said, look, there's this Malinois who is pregnant. And there's the dad. And I've reached out to a few rescues out here and no one wants to take the entire family. Or, they only want the puppies and don't want the mom and dad.
I'm going to insert myself.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, initially when I heard, I wasn't on board.
Yeah.
Because at this point, Steph and I had stopped rescuing dogs out of
California,
state.
yeah. Or just out of state, yeah.
Just out of state because Texas is so bad. California and Texas are both bad, but us being in Texas, it's focusing on the dogs here.
Right.
When we have Dallas Animal Shelter putting down 300 to 400 dogs a month for space,
it's like bringing sand
it
to the
doesn't
beach.
feel right, going out of state. And then I
he
heard
heard
that there were individuals, rescues, that wanted to take the puppies, but not the mom and dad. And I said, F that. Get them all here. So I drove...
to Amarillo.
6 hours?
Sure.
Something like that.
It was so long ago.
To Amarillo.
And that networker...
to meet the networkers.
Yeah, drove there to meet Duke.
And I picked up Lola and her puppies. We got the dad fully vetted and adopted. He follows us on Instagram.
Yeah.
He's awesome.
Once we got the ball rolling with the networker and said, okay, we can take all of them. And then luckily dad ended up finding a home in California, but they were all moved to a foster home in California. And Lola, within like 2 days of being in this foster home, is when she gave birth to 9 boys. And it's funny because I remember talking to the foster and she's like, okay, well, there's 1 boy, 2 boys, 3 boys, 4 boys, 5 boys. And she's like, maybe their parts aren't developed. Maybe I'm not seeing this right. 7, 8, 9 boys. 9
male Malinois puppies. And I don't think I've ever been so close to quitting rescue in my life. Those dogs broke me.
So they came to us when they were 2 weeks old.
Yes.
And at that point, they're still easy.
Yes, at that point.
So the kiddos get here, right? Lola had major separation anxiety. And it was because, she went from being in a junkyard, or in her home, to being dropped off at a junkyard, to then going into a foster home.
And it was a very sweet lady that took her in to foster her. There just wasn't guidelines put in place. So, Lola went from a junkyard to sleeping in bed and having free roam of everything.
Yeah.
That doesn't work here when we have 30 to 40 dogs.
Right.
Granted, off the bat, we couldn't have Lola in a crate because she was still feeding the puppies. And Lola's separation anxiety after being with somebody in a bed and like that was brutal. Lola, it was like $6,000 worth of damage that came out of pocket to fix the office, between ripping up the flooring and the door.
And the crown molding.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lola. Love you.
Love you, Lola. But no, Lola first off, was one of the best moms we've ever had.
Yeah.
Lola was so meticulous with her pups. We've had, I think peers are some of the worst sometimes. We've had some peers in the house where we get them in their pups, and as soon as they see we're taking care of the pups, they're like,
bye.
Sweet, bye, thank you. Lola was not like that. Lola would watch us very closely. She's very protective of her pups. When we would bring them in with her, she would actually do a head count. She'd count, boop them as we brought them in.
She's like,
and then
right.
she'd circle the playpen and count each and every one. She'd
go check on them.
Such a good mom.
Yeah.
These male Malinois at 4 weeks old were climbing out of 5-foot playpens and just little monsters.
Yep. I actually had to wear...
I've never seen dogs so fast and vicious in my life.
Thick, tactical type of material pants to go outside because they would just grab onto my pant leg and just chase us and just wanted to bite, typical little alligators that they were.
But we got all of the pups fully vetted.
Yep.
And into their forever homes. They found awesome homes too.
Yeah.
I could shout out a handful of adopters.
Oh man,
They're
that was
awesome.
That was rough. It was a rough go because finding, adopters that were qualified to handle and mentally stimulate these Malinois for the duration of their life was definitely difficult, but we did it.
Well, and we added something to our contracts for Malinois too, with the puppies that isn't standard for us, but we actually had a mandatory training deposit that had to go down for at least basic obedience work.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, phenomenal adopters
Yep.
and committed adopters, and they're all doing really good.
Yeah. So obviously we had a ton of applications for the puppies, and it was going through all the applications and phone calls and meet and greets and trial runs, but they all ultimately found really good homes. And typically what happens constantly is everyone wants a puppy and the mamas are waiting and
No mama
waiting
left behind.
and waiting for their forever home.
Yep.
And, Lola spent
2 years.
wonderful years here with us.
But Lola,
After
such
her, go ahead.
just a special dog.
Yeah.
Not just because she spent 2 years with us, but we also essentially raised Lola. She was only a year old.
Yeah.
A dog that was having litters too young.
That was her second litter too.
Yeah, getting to us, and she got to be a puppy with us. We got the pups into great homes, and she finally got to be a puppy herself. And in a lot of ways, we got to mold Lola into the dog she is today. It was a blast having a Malinois and being able to do like some higher end basic obedience work. I mean, Lola's a rock star.
Man.
Like we got
So
to,
smart.
Basic obedience work is a focus with all of the dogs to get them ready for homes. But Lola, we got to get into like some really fun advanced stuff, and working with a higher drive dog was a lot of fun. And you also got to see both of like her personality traits. It was that crazy high drive.
Right.
Lola was special in the sense though that, because she was the first dog out every morning at like 5 a.m., you got kind of this little window of morning coffee Lola where like I'd let her out, and then Steph and I would go sit on the chair with her outside and like have a cup of coffee, and it was like this 30 minutes of just peaceful, calm
I will
Lola.
say this. Before the peaceful, calm Lola, she was our alarm clock for 2 years.
Once she was
4:45
yes.
every morning, Lola would let out a scream
Yes.
to say, "Hi, it's coffee time. You should probably start the coffee
Yes.
maker now."
As soon as you got her out, she was better. But yeah, Lola would wake us up every single day. But Lola, 2 years with us. We had a few apps during the course of those 2 years, but nobody that was really committed to everything that was Lola.
Yeah.
Very well trained, but Lola had higher drive than what most people are used to for dogs.
Right.
And she was very, very fixated. So you really had to be on top of her.
Right.
She would never bite someone intentionally, but if a kid was running around with a toy, parents weren't paying attention, and Lola wanted that toy, she was going to go get that toy.
Right.
So it made it a little trickier, even though she was very well trained, to get her into a home, because you're then trusting adults that are very vigilant, which can be tricky to find, especially when there's kids involved.
And it's setting her up for success, right?
Yeah.
And not putting her in a position where she will unintentionally hurt a kid, and then, we get a phone call saying, "Oh, she bit my child." We know what the situation would have been like. But then you have a dog that has a bite history, right?
Yep.
So it's setting her up in a home where she could thrive. And after 2 years of waiting, we were like, man, we don't know if this home is ever going to come. And we actually shared it on our Patreon one night. We're like, you know what? We love Lola so much. It's been 2 years. She's comfortable here. I think we're going to keep Lola. I think Lola's staying here.
And the next day,
literally,
and I hadn't even checked apps yet. It was a comment. This lady on a Lola post, it was an old post, said, "Hey, I filled out an app. I haven't heard back." And then she had also sent a DM, and I was like, okay, this lady's invested. So I pulled up the app, and on paper, it was the best app we've ever had.
It was almost like made up.
Yes.
We're like, this
Which
isn't true.
I have had some really good apps, and they don't always translate.
Right.
So I hop on the phone.
I
got off the phone, and I came inside, and I said, literally, I said,
this might be, yeah.
I was like, this might be the best application and fit we've ever found. So this meet is going to go one of two ways. It's either going to be the best meet and greet we ever have, and Lola has found her perfect person, or it's going to be the worst meet we've ever had, and everything is going to go haywire.
Yep.
Well, We showed up, and thank God it was the best meet there's ever been. This lady.
Yeah. Well, it's actually funny because we've done this a few times where he'll take a phone call and then I'll do a meet and greet, or vice versa. That way we can then come together and have like a little meeting of like, all right, well, your phone call went like this, my meet and greet went like this, or vice versa. And I went to go do the meet. And as soon as the meet was done, I sent Duke all the videos and I was like, call me immediately. I was like, I don't understand. Like, I don't understand how this woman is so amazing.
No, she's,
but go ahead.
I mean, her grandpa was a Mal trainer and dad was a high drive dog trainer. She's a high drive dog trainer.
Yep.
And just lights out. I mean, you know, again, we were talking about Lola's fixation. She had her young child taking toys from Lola's mouth and holding them in front, like within 5 minutes.
Yep. She
and
grabbed
Lola
her
was
leash.
Perfect. Like this lady, I mean, definitely was on it. And it's funny, you know, the family fell in love with her, but she works with such high drive and she has 2 very high drive dogs that don't really like traveling. They like their home and they like working. And she was looking for a dog to travel with and go to the beach and go on adventures with the kids. And she actually said, she actually said her kids, which is crazy. There's a young teenager that was talking to Steph while they were walking Lola about Malinois and their personality traits and triggers and what you're supposed to watch for. And this means this.
I was like, you
very on it.
Right. A teenager.
She was looking for a good starter Mal for her kids to really work with, and a family dog, which Lola, if you're used to that higher drive real Mal, like is, but for most people it's very intimidating. So this lady was a rock star with it. I mean, they just fell in love. They were goofing off, playing with Lola. The mom wanted to adopt her immediately. And we told her to wait. We always tell people, especially with kids, wait 24 hours. And if you still feel good, call us tomorrow because, you know, dopamine can be high, obviously, like endorphins are up. You just met this dog, you have kids, you're excited.
Right, the kids are excited.
Wait 24 hours, think about the reality of it. And, you know, 5-10 years from now, does Lola still fit in your life? Right. So we told her all this. And like 24 hours on a dot.
Literally.
Later, she sends a text, are you guys ready yet? Like, so we go back, both of us show up for drop off in the second meet, and setting up all her stuff, you know, and I got to meet the family in person and just absolutely lights out.
It was amazing.
You know, that whole first week, and we still get frequent updates from her. She's one of our more frequent updates for sure. She, you know, rightfully so, doesn't want her kids on social media. So like, we'll get some pictures of Lola that we'll share. But then Steph and I get like the really good stuff. We got a video last week of her young kid pulling Lola in a wagon. Yeah,
Lola's in the wagon with the teenager.
Ride.
And the little...
Like, the updates are so good. Like Lola is so loved and cared for in that home. And, you know, as much as we love...
She was on a boat the other day.
She was on a boat. As much as we love Lola... We try and tell people this a lot. We can't give a dog that kind of life. You know, I mean, they have a great life with us, but when we have 30, 40 dogs and we're rotating all day and working on different things, we can't go to the beach. We can't get Lola on a boat or put her on a wagon ride. There's, you know, she sent us a picture a few weeks ago with her daughter and saying Lola has her cuddle partner for Friday night movies. There's little things like that that means so much to Steph and I. And that's why we continue to adopt these dogs out. So we can give them that kind of life.
But it's okay. We will wait until they find that perfect home. You know, we're never in a rush to get a dog out of here. They will forever have a home with us. And we will wait for that perfect home for whatever dog, you know, comes our way. So we're really, really happy for Lola. As much as we miss her, getting those updates is totally worth the heartbreak of like losing her and not having her now. But
she's also close. I know we'll see Lola.
Yeah. Well, and her mommy also said, like, if you guys ever need help working with some of the dogs on the property, let me know.
She actually offered to maybe work with Simba a little bit.
So we'll see, but
no, Lola, revenge tour complete.
We love you, Lola.
And a really awesome 2-year
and family.
That's Lola. Thanks for joining, guys. See you next time.
Bye.